Having a confident smile translates to everyone. When you walk into a room with a beautiful smile, people can feel the energy. They can feel your confidence. I want you to feel confident. If you have a broken or missing tooth and you're hiding your smile, you're hiding that confidence that you might truly have, but people around you won't feel. And you might even be changing your diet to eat different foods. You might be changing social interactions. It can be very simple to replace a broken or missing tooth. And then you can get that confidence back that you truly, truly deserve. I want you to walk into a room and I want you to smile with 100% confidence. I want you to feel like you own the room. I don't want you to hide your smile. I don't want you to change what you eat or how you talk to people. If you have broken or missing teeth, or you're losing your teeth due to any unfortunate circumstance, there is a chance for you to replace all your teeth in just 24 hours. And we can do it for you here at Implant Center of Miami. I want you to gain that confidence back. A really popular question that we get is, what is better, an implant to replace a missing tooth or a bridge? Okay, so what's the difference? A bridge, we actually have to shape the teeth in front and behind of the missing tooth. So that means that we're removing all of the enamel from those teeth so that we can put crowns over them and then have a pontic or a fake tooth in the center. So we start with a one-tooth problem, which is the missing tooth, and then eventually down the road, we end up with a three-tooth problem. And so the reason we try not to use bridges anymore unless we have to is because eventually when that bridge does fail, because everything has a lifespan, it will take the other teeth with them. Occasionally bridges can be replaced multiple times, but eventually we'll end up with that three-tooth problem. In implants, on the other hand, we're missing a tooth, we replace one tooth, we don't touch any of the teeth next door. And so it's a much healthier, safer option for your other dentition. It's time for anatomy class. Let's talk about how many teeth do we replace with the all-on-4 procedure. This is a model of a patient's jaw and dentition. As you can see here, we have every tooth present, including the wisdom tooth, the second molar, and the first molar. When we're doing the all-on-4 procedure, typically we like to replace only up to the first molar. And you might say, well, I want all my teeth back. But the truth is, the first molar takes 80% of the chewing power. You can see that the second and third molar actually don't even have space to exist here. And so when you place a second or a third molar in a restoration, many times you will end up with an interference. And we don't want an interference because an interference can cause complications such as fracturing of the prosthesis or clenching, jaw trouble. And so typically we will replace only up to the first molar. Okay, you can see you have the first molar, two premolars, your canines, incisors, and going back to the first molar, and then these would not be part of the prosthesis. Hey, it's Dr. Herzog, everyone, and I'm here to show you what it's like to get a biotemp. So if you don't know what a biotemp is, that is something that we make in a laboratory that temporizes your teeth while you're waiting for your crowns. And it makes the procedure a lot faster because your doctor doesn't have to sit there making the crowns by hand. So you can see this example right here. These temporaries are made in the lab and they're all together only for about 2 weeks while you're waiting for your permanent teeth. And we just snap them right over the patient's teeth once we've prepped them. And now you have a gorgeous smile to walk out with. And it takes just under an hour and a half. It's really beautiful. And for those people who want all their teeth really white, you don't always have to do an all-on-4. You can sometimes just get crowns. And a lot of our doctors really, really do treasure these full mouth rehabilitation cases where your teeth are ground down or you need to open the bite. And they are very, very educated on how to do these things. So if you come to Implant Center of Miami, it's not just a one solution type of place. We will offer you the best thing for you specifically. So here are 5 great things about all on four, and 5 not so great things about all on four. I'm Dr. Herzog, and I have been doing this procedure for 15 years. My first one was in 2010, and it was a lot different back then. So things are changing at a rapid pace, and I would like to give you the pros and the cons. So let's start with some of the bright side things about the all-on-4 procedure. If you are missing several teeth, you have broken down teeth or severe gum disease, and you've been told that you need all of your teeth removed, the all-on-4 procedure is a game changer. We take out all the teeth, clean up the bone, place 4 to 6 implants, and in 24 hours, you have something that's screwed in and feels strong, and you don't go without teeth for a very long or with a floppy temporary, okay? So that's a great thing about the all-on-4 procedure. The next great thing about that is that you're dealing with all the problems at once. You're getting rid of everything at once and then going to an implant solution, okay? The third great thing about the all-on-4 is your smile. You will absolutely have a gorgeous smile in whichever shade that you choose. So if you have darker teeth on the bottom, we can try to match to those. Or if you're doing both jaws, then typically we'll give you a nice bright smile, as white as you would like. The fourth great thing about the all-on-4 procedure is the price. So actually, in the past, when we would have to do implant by implant, it could cost up to $40,000 to have all of your teeth replaced with implants. But now, we have pricing that starts as little as $89.95, and it goes up from there depending on exactly what you need, okay? And then the fourth thing about the all-on-4 procedure is if you've been told that you have very little bone or you need sinus grafting, the all-on-4 procedure is made so that we can avoid those areas and utilize the bone that you have. So many times we can get away from doing the bone graft and place the 4 implants. So that's some great things about the all-on-4. But there's always a downside to things. So let's be real and let's talk about those things too, because those are important. So one of the things that you need to know about the all-on-4, it is a screwed-in denture. Although it is very small, it is one piece. Although it is screwed into the jaw and it doesn't move, technically it is still a type of denture. And it can be made out of multiple materials: zirconia, titanium base with zirconia, acrylic, different types of resins. But the bottom line is you still have one piece going into your mouth and getting screwed on. And some people find that it doesn't feel natural. Downside number 2. When you lose the ligaments in your teeth, you actually lose the feeling of biting in your bone. There is something called proprioception, which means when I'm moving my arm, I know where it is in space. When you're chewing with natural teeth, you can feel that bite and you know where you're chewing. When you lose the teeth and the ligaments and you put implants in, the feeling is almost of a numbness in your jaw. Your lips don't feel numb or anything like that. That would be a severe complication, but you don't know how hard you're biting. So if you're someone who has a really strong bite and you get upper and lower all-on-4, you will have an even stronger bite. Now, trust me, I've gotten my finger stuck in between someone's bite and it wasn't fun. So the next thing that you should know about the all-on-4 procedure is that it can break. There can be complications. There is not one material out there that is completely foolproof. So implants can break in the bone, even though they're titanium. Abutments, multi-unit abutments, screws, zirconia can break. The jaw has a tremendous amount of power. People have anywhere from 450 pounds of pressure all the way up to 1,200 pounds of pressure in their jaw. So every day, that force can actually break some of the things that hold your teeth in. And it's really important for you to know that. So we can do things like, for example, Botox in the masseters, giving you a night guard, and other things that will help prevent any of the components from fracturing. But it is a risk that you should know about. Another risk factor is, of course, not having bone that's strong enough to hold those implants in. And so in some very rare cases, the bone is not actually strong enough to load them in 24 hours. And some patients might have to use a denture for a certain amount of time until bone grafting can be done and additional implants can be placed. And so the last thing I want to talk about is the length of time it takes for this procedure. Because a lot of these huge companies out there are just telling you that you can get your permanent teeth in 24 hours. Yes, you can. You can get it done here. We can give you permanent teeth in 24 hours. We have our own lab. We have full capability of doing that. It's not a secret sauce, but I'll tell you what is. When you put a heavy zirconia on top of these implants, occasionally that can be too much for those implants that are just barely in the bone for a day, and the implants can fail. And so we'd prefer not to take that risk. In some cases, we do feel that we can load those implants with zirconia. And so there is no one solution. Everybody is different. And so the all-on-4 procedure can be done in as little as 24 or 48 hours, all the way up to a year or even a year and a half if you need significant bone grafting or have complications. And I think that it's important for you to know everything before you get into this procedure. So if you're looking to have the all-on-4 done, you can come talk to us. We'll give you all the pros and cons. We'll be straight with you, tell you the risk factors that other people are not talking about, and then we'll give you the options. So you keep your teeth, save what you have if they're pretty good, or if you're really at your last leg and you can't have any of the teeth restored, we can do the all-on-4 procedure for you. We do tons of them, and we'll do it predictably, and we'll explain to you the process. I'm Dr. Herzog. I hope this was helpful. Can you get your implants the same day as the extraction? This is the big question. And the other question is, do you want your implants the same day as your extraction? So in some cases, I would say absolutely yes, but not everyone's a great candidate. If you're doing an all-on-4 procedure, absolutely. Let's get those implants in, let's get them fixed with that screw-retained denture, and you're good to go. But if you're only replacing one tooth, for example, let's say you're replacing your first molar. That molar takes 80% of the chewing forces of your mouth. If we take out an infected tooth and then we put in an implant into this big crater where we took out that tooth and throw some dust or bone graft around it, do you think that that will have just as good of a success rate as if we were to take out the tooth, let the bone heal with the bone graft material, and put it into a nice solid foundation? No. You already know the answer. And so in some cases, we're going to want to take out that tooth, clean things up, rebuild the bone, and set it up for success. But other cases, we're going to want to put that implant in right away. For example, a front tooth with a gummy smile. If you can see your gums and you're missing a front tooth, we take out that tooth, we put the implant in, we pack it with bone, and we can even build you a same-day tooth. And so you don't have to walk around with a flipper or something removable or an Invisalign type retainer with a fake tooth in it. You can actually walk out with a screw retained tooth in that front tooth area. And the reason that's good and successful is because that actually supports the gums around that front tooth. So if you've ever seen someone smile and you can tell that they have an implant, well, that means that they lost bone and tissue surrounding that implant, which makes it look unaesthetic and fake, honestly. So we've had to correct some of those situations in patients that have come to us, and it's not easy to correct. And so we'd rather get it right from the first shot. And that would mean taking out the tooth, if you're a candidate, placing the implant the same day, and actually building the crown that supports the tissue so that your body doesn't even realize anything has happened, and you keep the same tissue you walked in with. Of course, everybody's body reacts differently, but usually we get a beautiful, beautiful tissue after that.